In 12 hours everybody in the world will get their memory erased, including you. You are the only person to know this would happen. What would you do before this event occurs? Okay, this is all going to be very confusing for you right now. But I learned on Reddit that the whole world would lose its memory in 12 hours. It's this website where 12 hours later. Right into the coconut. Haha. Wait, shit, I was supposed to explain about loses memory. The Jolly Rancher story. Nothing tops the Jolly Rancher story. Steve and his girlfriend Samantha went off to college in August. She went to Florida State, he went to Pennsylvania, so she decides to fly to PA to visit him. He was really happy to see her, so he decided to give her some oral action. He had done this numerous times before and he always enjoyed doing it, but for some reason, this time, she smelled really horrible, and she tasted even worse. He didn't want to offend her though because he hadn't seen her in months, so he put a Jolly Rancher in his mouth to cover it up, even though it didn't do much to help. In the course of eating her out, he accidentally pushed the candy inside of her and stuck a finger in to grab it out. He took it out, and put it back into his mouth and bit it. Only, it wasn't a Jolly Rancher. It was a nodule of gonorrhea. As in, the blister-like structure that gonorrhea makes filled with diseased pus was the size of a fucking Jolly Rancher, and the poor guy bit it. I guess it was really dark in the room. He freaked out and started vomiting all over the place when it exploded in his mouth. He demanded to know what was going on. Turns out she had cheated on him at a club like the first week of college, and fucked some random guy, and the stupid bitch had no clue what was wrong with her. She noticed a strange smell though. So now, Steve is freaking out that he now has gonorrhea of the mouth and God knows what else. Good question. I'd have 12 hours to come up with something, but firsthand I'd try to explain myself the basics: who am I, where do I live, what happened, and I'd try to teach myself how to use internet. That would be probably hard, but I'm counting on that I can read, write, move and talk. Because there are some replies that say that I wouldn't know that. On that premise there would probably be no point in doing anything, apart from throwing some food and water next to the place where I'll be waiting for the 12 hours mark. Even in that case, it's questionable. Because what if I wouldn't consider it a food? What would be on my mind without any knowledge? I'd be probably just laying on the floor, twitching and waiting for death. Hey buddy, it's me. You. Good news and bad news. Good news is you get a fresh start. Bad news is you don't remember anything that led up to this point. That's okay, but just to get you up to speed, everyone in the world just had their memory wiped and you're the only person in the world that will know this. Don't worry, it's not your fault, it's just some Ask Reddit thing, I don't know. Just know that your life is effectively restarting as of now. Let's set up some ground rules to make things easier for you. First off, I put a little medical mask there on the table in front of you. You're gonna want to encourage everyone to wear those for a while. If it's easier, just play it off like a fashion trend. Secondly, this building you're in, you are renting it, but your landlord won't even know that he's a landlord anymore, so I just play along as long as possible and pretend like you own the place. Also, by the time you're watching this it'll be about 2 a.m. so you should find that a woman is sleeping in your bed. You are married to her, but she's really easy to scare, so I just try to ease into that one. Most importantly, use this opportunity to get ahead. You and I, we're an artist, but as we're getting older it's starting to feel like we'll forever be stuck in the service industry trying to make a living. When you see this, no one will have a job, so don't get caught in the trap I'm in. Fulfill your passion, man. And don't forget to travel. Oh, and before I go, there is a distinct possibility that a certain someone will wake up in the Oval Office. I think it's reasonable to assume that a person waking up with no memories in a room would assume they belong in that room. Let me make this absolutely clear. He does not belong in that room. First part sounds great. But websites and passwords? How much longer are they going to be up if the world forgot about computers? Wouldn't Wikipedia still work as long as no one screws with the servers? Assuming you stored all the info on how to use the internet, you could probably use it to educate people on everything quickly enough to keep the internet running. Honestly, people will start worshipping Wikipedia. Yeah, I suppose it all depends on what erased really means and what they have left. If we assume they can still read, write and core memory, like grocery stores are where you can get food even if they don't know Publix is a grocery store anymore, then sure, you could build on it. But the clock would be ticking. Might be an interesting sci-fi show premise is say 0.01% kept their memories, so you suddenly have this class of uber smart people who need to network with each other, hopefully at least one is in IT, across the nation/world to race to teach everyone else. Like especially the farmers. Or maybe just to see how quickly people would figure stuff out as a group, almost like an escape room. Look, you know those rectangle clocks we all seem to be carrying? I just put my thumb here and now there is a whole lot of other stuff. Maybe they do more than tell time? Do a handstand right at the 12-hour mark. If I forget everything, maybe I'll think it's the normal way to walk. I was 12 years old on December 31, 1999. I thought the coolest way to ring in the millennium was to do a handstand at midnight. I was right, it was awesome. I left my tribe's character in the spawn and walked outside, not quite willing to accept that the world would end, but not capable of believing that nothing would happen. My watch hit midnight, and the night was still, clear, and cold, silent except for the quiet hum of climate control. It was an analog watch, so I gave it until 12:05. No fire. No brimstone. No distant shouts of alarm. The night remained still, clear, and cold, silent except for the quiet hum of climate control. I went back inside to finish the game, and the world spun on, oblivious to the fact that I'd even marked the moment with a passing concern. Are we talking every memory we have? Or just memory of the past 12 hours? If it's every memory, that's basically the same as saying everyone on Earth will die. If you remove all of the experiences you've had in life, there won't be anything left. Hell, would we even know how to function? It would almost certainly be the apocalypse for mankind. I'd probably just try to enjoy the last 12 hours. If we are only going to forget the previous 12 hours, I'd probably buy my future self a gift to surprise me. I wouldn't commit any crimes or anything. If you rob a bank, it's going to be on film, people will figure out the money is missing, and they will almost certainly catch you eventually. Nah, that's not the case. The mind doesn't treat experiential memories and learning/facts/knowledge in the same way. There are people who lose all memory of who they are and where they've been, and they can still talk/drive/play basketball/etc. This would be the perfect start to stopping all the bad things in the world and rebuilding civilization bigger and better. If people forget everything, then they can even forget bad things that they picked up unknowingly from their parents. Think about it, if everyone in the world forgot everything, then chances are you could easily help eradicate most racism by making everyone seem equal and making it seem as if the whole world was a giant mixing pot from the start rather than a result of slavery. You could balance out most of the gender equality issues, such as unequal pay. You could start to form new stereotypes for all kinds of people, where the stereotypes are more focused on the good of a person rather than the bad, etc. It'd be a lot of work, but it'd help build peace around numerous individuals, and hopefully make the world a lot less violent and chaotic. Base desires and character flaws would still exist. Resources in the world would still be scarce and finite. Differences between people's natural aptitudes would still exist. Not to mention that all of the human knowledge of social and political philosophy would disappear. You are betting on a pipe dream. Kill myself. All neurologists will forget neurology, and I've had migraines nearly every day for a month. I can't keep going like this. Besides, my oncologist will also forget oncology, which will mean even more pain and suffering on my end. That's sad. Please don't actually do that, as suicide is irreversible. Thank you. Right now, I have options for migraine relief, though none of them are great, and a neurologist appointment later this month to work on migraine prevention. I also have a wonderful oncologist who treats my cancer as well as she can, while also making me feel better. If I didn't have those things, I'd be in too much pain to want to live, with only slow and painful death to look forward to. I have them, so we're good. Well, need some more specifics here. What is meant by memory erased? What are we all forgetting? Are we forgetting the last 12 hours? Are we forgetting every event in our lives, but retaining language and technical skills? Are we basically getting a full wipe of everything down to hardwired animal instincts? Leaving yourself a message doesn't do much good if you no longer have language, or even a concept of language. Assuming you mean just our memories of the last 12 hours will be erased, I'll write down everything that has happened to me in the last 12 hours and leave it there for myself. But if you're talking about every memory that we have, then that would spell doom for humanity, because every experience that we've had in our lives are memories and they are basically what make us who we are. If we lose all of our memories, our personalities, emotions, intelligence, thoughts, and even our ability to function would all disappear. We would be nothing but empty, mindless husks. I would just sit there and wait for the inevitable end if that was the case. Write down everything in my journal: who am I, my relationships with parents, etc. Keep my journals long and detailed in the next 12 hours, bookmark it. Lose memories in front of it so I'll wake up to my journal right away. I'll also add something like, You are the chosen one destined to change the world, but have lost all your memories. Now regain them and fulfill your destiny. You know, just to fuck with myself.